Let's check out this Company Man video. Mick Jenkins explains Joey Bada diss Wars and Rumors.
All right, story number four. Big shout out to Mick Jenkins. Mick Jenkins, 1 second applause for Mick Jenkins. Chicago's finest. Now, Mick Jenkins is an incredibly talented MC. He's put a lot of work in over the years. The Waters is one of my favorite projects, period. I believe that's considered his debut album.
He's got a lot of real good material. I was listening to him over the weekend even.
Mick Jenkins he's actually doing something pretty cool for his fans. He made the conscious decision that he really wants to just go completely independent now. And so he's had experiences with labels. He was once on Cinematic. He released his last project through RBC. Shout out to 𝗕𝗥𝗓𝗓𝗓 over at RBC. And where he is now in his career is he wants to take everything in control and not go through the label system anymore. Now, there's a video on this channel I released today that is with 𝗕𝗥𝗪𝗓𝗓𝗪. That's Rakim's business partner. They started a fintech company that is designed to help raise capital for independent artists outside the label system, as well as provide financial literacy. That whole conversation is really about how investors are looking at the creator economy and giving artists the opportunity to really forge their own path. And that's exactly what Mick Jenkins is doing. And so he released a project, I think maybe last week, maybe 2 weeks ago. It's called Type Shit. 1 second applause for Type Shit. And he released it on Even, right? So it's direct sales to his audience. It's not on any.
I am not familiar with this. So this is even.biz. Project is for me and sort of it is what it is statement. As I enter this next phase of my journey in music, the focus is true independence. All right, so it looks like it's a 5-track project. You can pay $20 for it, $4 a song. Okay.
Streaming platforms, and he is very much against the streaming model. Now this week,
applause for that.
Again, Mick Jenkins had an event is that Sherman Oaks? I can't remember the name of the venue, but I went to it. Big shout out to Rory Bateson, my man Rory Bateson, one of the analysts in this audience. 1 second applause to you, Rory. He invited me to come check it out with him. And again, so what Mick is doing, since he's no longer going to play the label games, he's going to do a number of different pop-ups with his audience. And so he'll play some unreleased music and you can ask him some questions. So that's what this event is. And during this conversation, he talked about a few things that are very interesting. He talked about the reasoning behind him going independent. He talked about this program that a bunch of very famous Chicago MCs all were a part of before they blew up. And he talks about war and rumors of war. Now, we covered war and rumors of war on this channel. It is a response to Joey Bada. So Mick Jenkins, he explains exactly where that song came from. So let's take a look.
The wars and rumors of
Let me move myself here so I'm not covering up Justin here.
wars was a marketing ploy for me.
Wars and rumors of war was a marketing ploy for him.
That's grabbing people's attention even more than the fact that I released a project.
Yeah, that makes sense. Look, everybody has been trying to profit off of the Kendrick and Drake battle. And we're kind of in an interesting place right now to where like we have to, we run into this as creatives as well, like on this side of talking about it to where like we have to play to the algorithm. And that's all that Mick was essentially doing here.
Project right now, and so having that linked in the description and having something for people to check out. As a matter of fact, which we didn't know, but it's doing exactly what we thought. I've seen more people on that video and around that video that have never heard my music before.
That's crazy. I mean, I guess it worked, right?
Any of my recent new releases. I think for the patience, I saw a lot of my fans being like, oh my God, this is one of his most amazing projects in a long time. As far as like comments, you know what I'm saying? Here, I'm just seeing a lot of people who've never heard my music reacting to that song, you know what I'm saying? So it's doing exactly what we wanted it to do. It's really just a marketing ploy, taking advantage of what was happening on the landscape and rap in that moment and kind of using that for what we knew we were about to do with Type Shit as a project. One way that I want to continue to make things is like funky and different is like the vinyls. As I move forward, when I drop vinyls, I'm gonna start dropping first edition vinyls now, and the first editions will have something that the rest of them won't have. And so in this situation, it's prime for us to just drop Wars and Rumors of Wars on the vinyl and keep it as not being able to be released anywhere else.
I mean, Not to be that guy, but vinyl is plural. I just got to bring out the old head in me.
And so that then, you know, the fans.
That's a cool idea. So, I mean, what I do like about this is that it's like this direct-to-consumer approach that we're seeing a lot of. I feel like we're kind of in that area of time where artists are figuring out the best way to do this. And this is Mick's attempt at this is, I think, another positive down that path of paving the way for independent creatives to figure out what is our best way to reach our people in this new algorithmic-based world.
To get that extra song, or we might add two. That was the thought, to add 2 extra songs, some different artwork, lyric books in the sleeves, just kind of make that first vinyl like piece de resistance compared to.
That's cool because it's making it kind of special. You know, it's like it's giving the incentive to people to be or to pay attention to the artist, and it also gives benefit to the artist, you know, or excuse me, the consumers that are really fans of Mick or any artist that's going to do something like this.
This the rounds that'll come after it. But yeah, that's probably where that will end up on the type shit vinyl as a bonus track.
So we got it here. He's looking at it. He said, this is the landscape that Joey set, and he's using this as a marketing ploy. He's finding that people are interacting with his album, which isn't available on streaming because he released the video for Wars of Rumors of War. Now listen to the question. This is a good question from my man.
All good.
I can take up space if I can, so please let me know. So when I initially heard it, I perceived it as a diss, but it sounds like you made it a diss to draw attention to your project. So you don't have no feelings as to the current landscape of the rap scene?
It was as much as a diss as it sounded whenever it sounded like a diss. I could speak, I'm gonna speak to it specifically, but I as a matter of fact, I wrote that song 6 months ago.
He wrote the song 6 months ago. 6 months ago. 1 second applause. He wrote it 6 months ago.
It's an addressing of the landscape.
That's kind of what and that's kind of how I originally felt it when we did our reaction. Like, I was going through it and I was like, everybody came out and said, oh, this is a Joey Badass diss. And I was like, is it though? Like, is it really? Because, I mean, there were a couple lines in there, but it just sounded like clever talk to me.
In general, maybe not 6 months ago, maybe like 3 or 4 months ago, because it was in the midst of Kendrick and Drake. After Cole had already bowed out, I wrote that song. So
he wrote it in the aftermath of Kendrick, or in the midst of Kendrick and Drake, after J. Cole already bowed out. Now he's going to break down some bars here.
Keep it a buck. The claim and ruler line. They just lined up. That's 100%. Joey just.
And and I didn't pick. People kind of gave us a hard time in our comments because, like, this is an obvious. I was like, man, none of this is obvious. Like, all of it is conjecture. Like, I was playing around at the end of it because I was like, he's talking about flying and CJ Fly and all this stuff. It's like, is this a Joey shot? I don't know. And I was kind of being facetious because none of it really seemed like a direct shot, but it could have been. But that's interesting.
Just happened to say ruler's back. You feel me? Like, so it just lined up, which is why I knew I had to put that out. You know what I'm saying? It wasn't supposed to come out right now. But it was just like, nah. Everything I rapped about on this song is coming to a head right now. I need to put this out right now. You know what I'm saying? Like, it'll work for the album, it'll work for type shit, it'll work. We gotta go. You know what I'm saying? Like, that's what happened with that. And it was, a State of the Union, just kind of addressing the things that are going on. Now I'm running with all the narratives. You feel me?
I'm running with all the narratives. 1 second applause.
The Joey line is, the ruler line, the Cole line is the, what I said? Oh, losing sleep, not me, you know what I'm saying, the sleep, losing sleep after the Simba shit, and niggas gotta learn how to take a loss, is the line for Drake. I think it's just a state of the union. I'm just addressing everything that's going on. I think it's a lot of popping of shit right now in rap, and I think one thing that people don't realize for, like, people who, like me, like my friends and artists that are of the same cloth, is that this is a sport. Like, I was just talking about this back there. It's just like, you can't talk a certain way being somebody that's regarded as one of the best and think that the other people who are regarded as one of the best don't feel a way or don't think of things. Like, it just doesn't even make sense.
Yeah, I think that's a very important piece about this. One thing that I talk about regularly on the New Old Heads is how I don't really view music as a sport, but at the same, I view it's simply art to me. There is an element. Once you jump out of that just creating art for the art's sake, and then you want certain people's spots, once you want to claim that you're better than somebody, once you want to go down the path of like trying to bar somebody up, then that's when the sport gets introduced a little bit. So I feel like there's two different molds, and they bleed into each other a little bit, obviously.
I don't understand. It's like, there's no beef. Nigga said he was the best. You know what I'm saying? Multiple people are claiming they're the best right now. And I also feel like I'm the best. Like, you know, and then the fans will be like, he just wants some attention. Or they got way more streams or albums or whatever. You know what I'm saying? And I think it's hard for people to remove the fact that it's like, yeah, but I actually live and breathe and do this.
Right.
So when I recognize somebody else who lives and breathes and does it in a competitive mode, now I'm competitive. You understand what I'm saying? And so I think it's really that simple. It doesn't really get much deeper than that for me because I don't have any personal issues with anybody for real. So I relate a lot of things to basketball. And I was just like, I imagine somebody going out and dropping 30 and then on the back of that performance being like, yeah, I'm the best in the league. 5 niggas about to drop 40 next week. Like, it's like, what? He's talking crazy. You know what I'm saying? Like, and I'm gonna go to, and it's not no personal beef, but it's just like you made a claim based off your performance. And I don't think that was good enough. You know, it's really.
And I don't think that was good enough. 1 second applause. So there's Mick Jenkins explaining the origins of wars and rumors of wars. It's something that just sort of happened to work out as the stars aligned. Joey said the ruler's back, and he happened to have a ruler line in a track that he made 6 months ago that he made while Drake and Kendrick were beefing. And so the actual subs in there are at J. Cole and Drake. 1 second applause. So that's him explaining the origins of that song. And, you know, it's a monster. It's a monster lyrically. We reacted to that on this channel. I missed a lot of stuff. So if you guys go take a listen to the video, feel free to point out things that I might have missed in my reaction. But Mick is truly a super MC. Now, there's two other things I want to.
I'm just going to say facts, and it was probably my favorite diss of the last couple months, if it's even considered a diss. It's my favorite diss of songs that have been considered a diss.
I want to highlight from this conversation. This first one is actually really big. And again, it speaks to his independence and his decision to not put his music on streaming. Okay. Now, listen to what he says here.
Putting my foot in the water with being completely independent. And kind of just.
So he's talking about how Type Shit, his newest project's his first time putting his foot in the water with being completely independent.
Jumping into this and seeing what happens. We've done amazing so far. The project's been out for a week. We're gonna be officially confirmed in a day or two. But we are charting for my first time ever.
Hey. He is officially charting.
Cool.
For his first time ever. Now, Mick Jenkins has put out some incredible projects. And his decision to sell this directly to his audience now puts him in a position to where he is going to chart for the first time ever.
And that's something that I also have been like, everybody I've told that I've been like, you gotta really think about that. Like, why am I charting on my first independent release with $0 in the marketing budget? Why? That's not to say how much I'm selling. That's to say how little my streams converted to sales.
Facts. I'm loving this consciousness that artists are having, starting, especially independent ones, obviously, but just in general around this particular issue. So shouts to everybody that's been doing the back work to drive this home online for the last handful of years.
It's not, I'm selling so much right now. I sold 1,300 copies so far in this first week. I've never charted before. Not the waters, not 𝗕𝗥𝗪𝗡𝗚𝗚, not any of my biggest
He headlined the very first Trees Festival that I had a part of putting together years ago, like 2015 or 16, based off the Waters, I believe.
projects. So it's not to say how much I'm selling now, that's to say how little streaming converts to sales.
That's crazy. I mean, you know, to hit the charts is a big deal, and it feels out of reach and it feels very unattainable for a number of artists. But what he just said there, he's going to chart for the first time in his career. He's done this completely independently. The album is available on Even. Fans go there and they download the full project, and he sold 1,300 copies.
1,300 copies times $20 a pop. I mean, you're doing pretty decent.
1,300, and that's enough to chart the previous week. And his takeaway wasn't that he is selling so much. His takeaway is that's how little streaming converts to albums.
Right.
1 second applause.
And so to me, again, it's like, it's a no-brainer for shit like that. It kind of just doesn't make any sense. The standards that are, the things that are the standard in the industry, and how they affect the artists. I'm
Just off sales.
on my soapbox like that bitch will pull me. I'm dead serious. This is the last thing I'll say before I get back to this. This man, whoever runs Spot, he got $64 billion, bro. I've been singing this for like the last 2 months. You know, like, that's our money. You feel
Man,
me? Like, where
preach.
does all of that money come from? If 70% of the people on your platform don't make $22,000 for what the whole platform is for. Just a little nugget, you know what I'm saying? Shit that I have was
So Mick Jenkins, he's achieving things he's never achieved in music simply by not making his music available to streaming. Now, I'm not advising anyone to eschew streaming or go in on streaming one way or the other. I think
I've been advocating this for a long time, but I think it works. This particular thing works a lot better for somebody like Mick, who has established themselves, who already has a following. I feel like if you go, you know, because the way that I look at these streaming platforms is almost as marketing tools, you know. So, you know, there's different ways to go about it, but if you're somebody like a Mick Jenkins, somebody who is already his status of independent, or who could be independent, who has a base of this such, there's no reason why you shouldn't just say, you know, abandon social or streaming, or at least pick and choose which platforms you want to.
situation is a little bit different. Mick has spent years building his audience. He's got at least 10 years of audience building. Some of that through the major label system, some of that through the independent label systems. And so that's the wind in his sails, right? That doesn't necessarily mean that anybody tomorrow can go sell 1,300 units on their own.
1,300 in the first week is pretty good, man. That's 26 grand, man. And it's split multiple ways, but that ain't bad for a first week. You know what I mean?
I've never charted before. Not the Waters, not 𝗕𝗥𝗪𝗡𝗚𝗚, not any of my biggest projects. So it's not to say how much I'm
fast forward.
Building his audience. You do have to have an audience that rocks with you and supports you. And he does have that. But that is just striking. 1,300 units, and he's charting for the first time. 1 second applause. Now, there's one last part here I want to talk about that I think is really interesting. Mick is from Chicago. My favorite city is Chicago. So many of my favorite rappers are from Chicago, as you guys know here. I asked Mick Jenkins, you know, what is it that makes Chicago so special that it creates so many just top-tier MCs? This is what he said. So many potent MCs come from the center of the map.
I don't know. I think it's
The work ethic.
interesting. It's funny. Even the crop of MCs that I came up with is very interesting because we were all learning together. We were all in a lot of the same creative spaces together. There's a program at the library called the Lyricist Loft. There's a program up north called Young Chicago Authors. Chance, Vic Mensa, 𝗕𝗥𝗪𝗡𝗚𝗏, Saba, John Doe, Mick Jenkins, Hollywood Hole, that whole Treated Crew
Suleiman
era, and a lot of other people that you could.
No Name was a part of that program too.
I mean, this is my era of, you know, a lot of these people. You may add to. Shouts to all them. Shouts to homies Il Brown, Pete's sake.
From Chicago, we're in these spaces at the same time. These are spaces where you can come in and write for an hour, and then y'all say y'all piece after, and then there's an open mic after that. And, just this constant sharing of writing and sharpening of actually sharpening our pens next to each other. I always find it amazing that we all sound drastically different.
None of them sound alike. None of them sound alike.
Using the same producers, them people, and On God, and this is back in the day. Touching all our projects, none of our projects sound the same. We all in the same studio. It's getting mixed by the same people, and just drastically different sounds. I think it's fascinating.
It's drastically different, but there's a commonality between it, because you could, I mean, Saba's sound and Mick Jenkins, they have a similar type of sound. Chicago just has a particular type of grit to it.
I see a lot of situations where people are growing next to each other, and obviously they rub off on each other. I had to stop listening to Kendrick at a certain point because I would start enunciating like you know what I'm saying. So it's just like, it's so crazy how we really don't sound anything alike and have such dynamic sounds and impactful sounds. I gotta attribute it to the region. I can't tell you what it is.
Where do you think Chicago ranks?
Just an underdog. I think when you really look at it, we got a lot of hitters.
That's a good answer.
We got a lot of people who made it really big, and they're amazing. We got amazing underground artists, whether it be rap, oldies, R&B. It really doesn't matter. We got every pocket in Chicago, but I think we just get overlooked. I know for a fact that the industry of music in Chicago isn't where New York or LA is, and that may have hurt us, but I mean, I don't have to name names. Like, it's crazy out there, so I just say underrated.
Chicago is underrated. 1 second applause. That's Mick Jenkins, fantastic MC.
I would extend it to the Midwest in general, the whole Midwest area. I mean, you could go up to Minneapolis even, but, you know, Chicago, Minneapolis, Detroit, all, you know, Michigan in general, you know, Ann Arbor, all that stuff down to Columbus, Cincinnati, Indianapolis, all the way over to St. Louis. Like, that whole region area, there's a lot of really good music in that area.
Fantastic lyricist. Coach Contra was there. 1 second applause to Coach Contra. Big shout out to Kerm. Kerm was there.
Check out my remix to Breathin', to their Breathe and Stop joint.
Then I grew impatient, sick of waiting for frustration, for me chasing validation. Am I great enough to make it? Do it, knock on. Tell me again, who's the man I seem to think I am? Dr. King, living off a dream, PM and AM.
Random plug.
I met him there. And again, big shout out to Rory Bateson for the invitation. This is a really cool experience, and Mick Jenkins plans to do this in multiple cities and just give fans the opportunity to pull up and hear new music.
That's a cool idea.
And build with him, ask questions. So this is how you move in a super fan environment, which I talk about quite a bit. Super fans are fans that are willing to spend money on an artist in 7 or more different ways. And through maximizing that opportunity, Mick Jenkins, through his latest release, Type Shit, is charting for the first time.
Hey.
So this is a big celebration for Mick Jenkins.
Shouts to Mick.
We're going to have a conversation on this channel here in the near future too, because he truly is one of my favorite MCs, and he's just a fantastic lyricist. Let me know what you think about all this in the comment section. My name is Justin Hunt. Like and subscribe to the channel. Follow at The Company Man on everything. It's all happening.
Shouts to Justin. Shouts to a really cool video. Yeah. The Superman, for anybody that's watching that is an artist, I'm going to extend this a little further here. So check this out. There's a book. It's called Superfans by Pat Flynn. If you're interested in going down this path, this book can help showcase some of the stuff that you need. There's also a cool video on YouTube. Let me see if I go here. Yeah, it's this video right here. I also suggest checking out this video. The Death of the Follow and the Future of Creativity on the Web with Jack Conte. This is like a keynote speech that he did at South by Southwest, where he goes in deeper on that Superfans idea that Justin was just talking about. Check all that stuff out. Definitely, you know, if you're somebody that's trying to create something as a creative and you're trying to utilize an independent type of model, I think it's a great book for that. So, but yeah, shouts to Justin for highlighting and sharing this interview with Mick and all the details around it. Until next time.